everybody like to call this meeting to order, the HDAC annual meeting for 2024. Can we all rise and say the Pledge of Allegiance? Pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Meeting's called to order at 6:30. I'm gonna ask the secretary to call the roll.
All right, I'm going to call out each subdivision name. When I do so, if you're here, please state your name so I can make proper minutes. Aquila Village.
Chris Luchef here.
Auburn Township. Bainbridge Township. Burton Township. Burton Village.
Here, Ruth Spanos.
Thanks for breaking the street.
City of Chardon.
Here, Chris Groff.
Chardon Township, Michael Brown. Chester Township.
Here, Craig Richter.
Clarendon Township. Hamden Township.
Here, Keith McClintock.
Huntsburg Township.
Here, Jason Sutter.
Geauga County Commissioners. Middlefield Township. Middlefield Village. Montville Township.
Here, Patricia Combs.
Munson Township.
Here, Jim McCaskey.
Newberry Township.
Here, Joe Scomrock.
Parkman Township.
Here, Joyce Peters.
Russell Township.
Here, Jim Mueller.
South Russell Village. Thompson Township.
Here, Joseph Singer.
Troy Township.
Here, Sharon Sims.
We have 14 present. We have a quorum.
Thank you, sir. First order of business, everybody received the minutes and have an opportunity to review them from last year's annual meeting. Did everybody have a chance to review the minutes from last year's annual meeting? If so, somebody like to move to approve the minutes of the 2024,
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes from the 2024 meeting,
or 23, I'm sorry.
23 meeting.
Okay.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, motion passes. Meeting minutes have been approved. And now we will have the annual report by Geauga Public Health Administrator, Mr. Adam Lickey.
Hello, everyone. In front of everybody should have been a report that looks like this in the front. That's the annual report. It's also on our Facebook, linked to the website as well. So if you want a digital copy, there's one there as well. And the annual report is required by us to provide each year. Some of the topics are communicable disease reporting, finance reporting, and a couple other things like environmental health. So in there are those topics. There's also in there, probably one of the bigger topics we talked about recently is the House Bill 110 program. And that is the one that after an internal audit, along with our legal audit as well, there's about $1 million that Geauga Public Health has to pay back to the residents, the businesses of Geauga County, obviously the residents mostly too. But that is for services that were paid for but not provided for the past 10 years. So that will be a payment coming out relatively soon. That's about $1 million, about $979,000 that Geauga Public Health will be paying back to the businesses in Geauga County. Also in here is the household sewage treatment operation and maintenance program. We've talked to almost all of you at this point, or someone from your office, to have a meeting in your township, village, or in your city to go over that. It is a required program per the Ohio Revised Code and the Ohio Department of Health. We are rolling that out to be in state compliance. We did talk, two of the board members and I did talk to the state about if we did not go into compliance, if we stayed at the for sale of property program that you all know that we used to have. And in essence, what happens is they ship out the entire Environmental Health Services Department to another county. And they would decide fees, rates, and everything else. With the program we have right now that we're rolling out, it will be the lowest fees that we're aware of in the state by a good margin for most of those. And it will be the state minimum requirements to operate this program. It will help to protect, obviously, the drinking water, make sure septic systems are up and running, amongst other things. I'll have Mr. Lark speak a little about it here in a second, just so everybody knows what to be aware of when we have those township meetings. They are public meetings, obviously, because it'll be your township, village, or city. We do encourage the public to attend because we would like to be able to have that conversation back and forth with things that are occurring with those systems. Also, in here is the cross-jurisdictional agreement with Lake County General Health District and some budgetary notes on that. And then on top of that is also the WPCLF, or Water Pollution Control Loan Fund. That is money that we get from the state that we can use to help people repair or replace their septic systems. You do have to qualify based on income. That is in there. We also, you can call in, we'll give you all the notes about it. We can do not a ton of systems every year, depends on what the funding is, but we do try to make sure that information is available so that those who do qualify can apply for those dollars and have that reduction in the cost to repair or replace their septic system. So we are rolling that, or we have that rolled out every year, but we are looking for applicants who would like to apply for that. And then the rest of it I will let all of you go through as you have a chance to read it. Dan, would you like to mention just the operation and maintenance program and some of the highlights on that or discussions? Dan Lark's our environmental health director here at Geauga Public Health, and he'll mention a couple things about that operation and maintenance program.
First, I just want to say that the WPCLF program is to help low-income people fix or repair their system. If you know anybody that needs funding, please send them our way. Believe it or not, we sometimes struggle to find people for that program. It's a great program where we can help people fix their septic system, sometimes at no cost. So if you do have any residents, please send them our way. Operation and maintenance program, where we're at right now is we are starting the sampling the NPDS systems, which are discharge sewage. Like the households have a mini treatment plant right on their property, and it discharges right to the road ditch. Those are legally required to be sampled, and we're beginning that process. So one thing we're trying to do, as Adam mentioned, we're trying to go to every trustee meeting and give a presentation. Then we are also having public meetings for all those townships also. So if, again, we're trying to encourage residents to come to our meetings. We've had anywhere from 0 to 30 people show up at our meetings. So we prefer to have the 30 rather than the 0 because those kind of stink for us when no one's there for us. But the whole program comes down to everybody just maintaining their septic system, and that's really what the program tasks the health department with, making sure every resident does. So depending on systems, there'll be some different requirements for every type, and more than happy to answer any questions now or later if anybody has any. So.
And that program has been in the code since the 80s, give or take, Dan? 70s, and it's just not being enforced until 2015, a required enforcement. So it's been in the code for a very long time. It just has been a soft enforcement based on where you're at. The state is now, there is no option. You will enforce this code section. So.
My question is that an awful lot of our systems here in Geauga County have leach fields.
Yes.
They don't necessarily have a physical piece of operating electrically
Yep.
driven piece of equipment. How does this program affect septic systems with leach fields
Sure.
that exhaust to the roadside ditch?
Oh, well, so if there's no treatment and it's almost raw sewage coming out the ditch, we'll have to address that in one way or the other. That typically those qualify as under a definition as a public health nuisance. So if they're putting untreated sewage out to the ditch, then that's a health concern.
Some of those systems that have properly operating leach fields, in the end, it's got to go out someplace, and it's been treated by the leach system. How does that affect?
If it's properly operated, the only thing going to the street should be the curtain drain.
Yeah, they really shouldn't be discharging anything from the leach lines. The curtain drain is supposed to be clean water from around the system to help kind of keep the area drier, but really anything coming out of the leach lines most likely should not be. So, but if there is something, there's some steps that we have to go through before we make anybody fix or repair stuff. So, you know, we have to prove that it's an issue before we can issue an order to anybody.
Thank you.
All right.
And then also, we did apply for a grant, Geauga Public Health did, for 2 snowplow articulating blades, 2 for Chardon City actually, and 1 for City of, or Township, Parkman Township. We got notified today, we haven't got the grant yet, but we are still in the running. And it was just something that we applied for, and we saw a need for the 2 of them, so we applied for them, so we're still waiting to hear back. So that'd be a really great thing if we got that here in Geauga. There's 260 applicants, and they're down to, I think, 100 something, and there's 20 to 30 that will actually be awarded it. So we are trying to actively apply for grants for other community members as well if we see need or someone mentions anything. And then, real quick to divert a little bit, we do want to give an award out to Miss Roman. Thank you, more or less. Even though she doesn't want to be the center of attention, is asked not to, still going to do it. Miss Roman is the one who is stepping off the board house. So you'd like to come up here.
Speech.
Mrs. Roman's given us 5 long years, as she would probably tell me, and went from private sector learning public sector through the skin of her teeth. But we'd like to give you this.
Thank you.
And then also the board has gotten you some flowers as well.
Thank you.
And then would you like to give a speech that Mr. Brown would like you to give?
Well, I would just say, I would like to thank the people that supported us in the cross-jurisdictional agreement. It has allowed us to save some money and save some money for all the emergencies that may or may not occur in the future. So anyhow, thank you all. Thank you.
And then quickly, I'm going to go over the typical slide you guys see every year, and that is the budgetary slide. And of course, now it doesn't want to. There we go. All right. So just Health Advisory Council 2025 budget. Keep in mind the 2025 budget is something we have to produce now. We revise it in November of every year, usually October, because we don't know what we don't know. If a grant comes in, if money comes in, this is kind of what we have to do legally to show that we still have expenditures that are there. I kind of wanted to kind of dote on the staff a little bit from GPH. For those that don't know, we have been having quarterly HDAC meetings. We've not gotten a quorum there yet, but the general consensus back from the 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 people that show up has been that in general, customer service is kind of doing really, really well right now. Almost no complaints coming to the HDAC members, even though they used to. We're not getting complaints coming from the county commissioner's office, which we used to get semi-consistently. Implementing the operation and maintenance system, program, being significantly less cost than other areas in the state of Ohio. We actually had, to Mr. Lark's credit and his team, we had other counties actually approaching us, asking them how we did this, for the cost we did, and how can we do it in their county? How can we help their county kind of implement the same thing? Correcting errors of the House Bill 110 program, helping Parkman with the new wells with Mike Deerfield and Joyce and Henry there. And then also what we've dealt with consistently, which has been a problem, but a good problem, is that nuisance complaints. So if someone reported something that was wrong, they generally weren't addressed, is what we found out many times. They kind of went to a file and they were left. We started addressing those relatively quickly, and we've actually gotten a lot more of those coming in because now people realize we're actually addressing the nuisance complaint. So the good and the bad of that. We actually were able to help staff a nurse at the Amish DDC clinic. So they're there 2 days a month or more. DDC was up to 6 months backlog on getting vaccinations and check-ins for the Amish. We're able to help reduce that significantly. We had the state out to try to get grants for the DDC as well, and so we're working with them to get them additional funding for the Amish population here in Geauga. Our health educator emergency preparedness team have been doing a lot with drunk driving awareness in the schools and helping kids realize how dangerous it really is, amongst other things, tobacco cessation, communicable disease, or communication with federal and state agencies for emergency preparedness. Vital statistics, they've really done a lot to ensure that your birth and death certificates, when you walk in, you're walking out very quickly. There's almost no downtime for that. And we've gotten a lot of compliments from that from different residents. And then, just also that team, they do a good job, which makes me look good. It makes it a lot easier to come here and tell you guys all the good things that went on. And there's not really a lot of downsides right now to everything that we're implementing and rolling out. The board accomplishments, again, They don't get to see this beforehand, so they care as well as you guys, but Parkman Wells, be able to get those all drilled, that was about a $750,000 grant from the Ohio EPA that we will roll out with Joyce and Henry, everybody helping out. The House Bill 110 being brought into compliance, partnership with the DDC, working with the Amish superintendents. For those that don't know, there were some prior hard feelings between some of the Amish community and the health department, and what we did instead was reach out to like the Amish superintendent who oversees all their schools and said, hey, we have to inspect your schools every year. What do you want to see? And he walked us through the whole process of what, especially some of these young ladies who are teaching the class who are 16, what they would feel more comfortable with as we're walking in. So marked cars, marked shirts, marked hats. Somebody says, hey, this is not somebody crazy coming up to the school. This is someone from the health department coming here to do the inspection. So working with them. Following up on the nuisance complaints, as I mentioned, numerous audits, including the state auditor's office, the Ohio Department of Health, Ohio Department of Ag, and other ones we've brought into compliance. Reduction in environmental health fees almost across the board in many areas. And then cost savings across jurisdictional, and no employee turnover since May of 2023. And then, as I always do, there's certain people that honestly make my life a whole lot easier, and obviously we all pay taxes, and at some point it goes to some of their salaries. The Board of Health, obviously. Ron Graham, who's the health commissioner, he's actually downstairs. He was at the door helping me walk in. Sorry, he's in the back now. He was at the door. Mr. Flays, who has been instrumental with not only the Parkman Wells, the House Bill 110, numerous other things across the board. Charles Walder, who is obviously your county auditor with help with the Parkman Wells lot. Frank Antonucci with ADP, helped us a lot with a lot of our new computer system rollout stuff. And then Linda Crombie and Allison Combus help roll out an interactive map people can use to see what the Parkman Wells situation looked like before and after. Or actually, it's before. The after we're still working on if we get those. So those are just some of the people that have helped us that are also public officials that we all deal with on a consistent basis. The budget in general, the same budget that goes to the County Budget Commission. The only difference from this, which I'm actually have the board revised what I'd given them, was we had not backed out the $1 million that goes out to House Bill 110 yet. That was my mistake. So in this one, it is backed out from Fund 6023. But in general, we should be looking at let's see if this will work without screwing anything up. We should be looking at, conservatively, a $61,000 surplus, expenses minus revenues, is what we're looking at, which is not a giant number, but it is going in the right direction, obviously. And again, revenues are conservative, as all of your finance people do, and expenses are a little more liberal on that side. So we should be okay there. Changes to the budget that the board is aware of, if any of you have been to the HDAC meetings or anything like that, you are all aware, is the implementation of the Operation and Maintenance Program, which is an unfunded mandate by the state. These are best guess numbers, because if you don't pay that fee, it goes on your taxes. That's how the code works. So if half the people don't pay, we wait a year more or less to get the money back at the end of the tax cycle. So we can say, hey, there's 2,000 of these systems, 2,000 times X dollars. The reality is we may have all the expenses up front and the revenue not for another year. Now it'll flux out eventually, but there is some, we are very cautious with how that fluxes out and how fast. Obviously cost savings. Legal costs for 2025, I did reduce those with the expectation they should be coming down with public records requests. And the budget and the salary and fringes includes the 2 employees not covered under the cross-jurisdictional, which are our 2 vital stats people, Becky and Heather. Other than that, I just kind of crammed through that because obviously I'm sure you guys all have other things to do. You want to make sure you're getting new candidates. I'll be happy to answer any questions at the end if you guys want to ask questions at the end, just so that we can keep going on track here.
Thank you, Mr. Lickey. Seeing as you took all of Health Commissioner Ron Graham's time, you got anything to say, Ron?
No, I just want to add appreciation of all the support. I know things have not always been smooth, but we do the best we can, as cheap as we can, as effectively proactive as actively as we can. And without everybody's support, we'd not be here. We're at a year later with staff that like their job, better competitive wages, and really public health for families. And it doesn't matter what county you come from, we're here to do the right thing. So just appreciate everything and calls anytime. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. So at this time, we do have 2 candidates tonight, Melissa Bodrin and Dennis Galicki. And I'm going to ask Melissa to come up first, and she's going to have opportunity. Everybody got a copy of each of their resumes ahead of time. Each candidate's going to have 3 minutes. Adam's going to have a timer on the screen. They're gonna have a chance to address the full body of the HDAC, and then we'll move on to public comments. So whenever you're ready, Melissa.
And we'll have both candidates come up to the podium here. When we do the public comment, we're gonna have that back there, just so you're not walking back and forth across all the cords. All right, when you're ready.
Okay. Good evening. My name is Melissa Bodrin. Things I care the most about in my life are God, my family, and my community. I've been a resident of Geauga County since moving here from Texas 20 years ago. I live in Bainbridge for the past 10 years in a house with a septic tank for 10 and in Auburn for 10, so a total of 20. I'm a mom of a 16-year-old daughter who goes to Kinston High School. I felt privileged to raise my daughter in this community, and I've been interested in serving and giving back. One way I hope to do that is by having an opportunity to serve on this board. Professionally, I have a bachelor's degree in social work. I worked in a nursing home for 5 years before going to nursing school, and I became a social worker because I care about people. I wanted to help them at a vulnerable time in their life. I've seen many people fall through the cracks because they don't really know what services are available, and I like to help people and their families. That mission has carried over into nursing. I became a nurse because I wanted to help people in different ways, and nursing's given me a lot of experience for a position such as this, I believe. I work at Hillcrest currently. I've worked there for 18 years. It's a very busy floor that I work on, and I've been an assistant nurse manager for 7 years. I'm now going back to school to get my master's in nursing at Ursuline, and I'm graduating in May. I love caring for patients. I'd like to serve on the Board of Health because I want to transfer my commitment to helping people to the community. I haven't served on a board, but I'm willing to learn. I feel that I have some management skills that are going to carry over. One of my jobs is helping operate within a budget, looking at patient acuity, and actually we match that with our census every 4 hours, so I'm involved with that. I'm also part of the empowerment program for heart failure at Hillcrest and part of the geriatric resource nurse program. I help educate staff members on different isolation policies at the hospital. I'm also calm in stressful situations in the hospital and am able to talk with patients and families and help de-escalate people when I need to. I think serving in the community and programs like DARE are crucial. My daughter went through DARE at Kinston, and that was a great program where she really learned about drugs and alcohol from somebody other than her parents, which I think was very good. And for kids to know that law enforcement really cared to keep them healthy and safe. Being in healthcare, I can see how Project Dawn is so necessary, and I was really pleased to see Geauga County distributed almost 300 kits in 2022. I enjoy working with others. I think it's important to consider different points of view, and I think this is how we can sometimes make the best decisions because we can learn from each other. So thank you for your time and consideration.
Thank you, Melissa.
Any questions or?
No, you can.
Yeah, we're going to go
have a
back.
seat.
Oh, okay.
Mr. Galecki can come up.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Dennis Galecki, and I'm seeking a seat on the Geauga County Public Health Board. Some of you may know me from my membership in the Township Association. I was born and raised in Northeast Ohio and have ties to Geauga County since my early childhood. My great uncle had a farm in Chardon. There was no street address in those days, just a rural route number. And if you looked him up in a directory from the 1920s to about the 1960s, his home was listed as the 7th house north of Chardon Square in Route 44. That was old Route 44. No central heat, a hand pump for water in the kitchen, sink, but many great memories there. And unfortunately, my family sold it while I was in the Navy. So I do not come from a medical background. My degrees are in engineering and national security and strategic studies. But I have engaged in large-scale humanitarian operations while serving in uniform and have managed several medical facilities under contract for the Cleveland Clinic in my post-military life. And that was on the facility side, not the medical side. After high school, I left home to attend the U.S. Naval Academy in Annapolis, and following graduation, served my country as a naval officer for 28 years. During my entire time in uniform, I maintained my Ohio residency and regularly voted in elections via absentee ballot. You ask me why I am interested in the position, it's to serve my community. Naval Academy instilled in me the concept of selfless service, non sibi sed patria, not self but country, service for others without personal agenda. Upon retirement from the Navy, I returned to Ohio and made my home in the village of South Russell and was engaged largely in manufacturing management and facilities management. I was elected to council in the village in 2018 and have served continuously since that time. Transparency, integrity, accountability, and responsibility to the public have been my guiding principles during my public service. The people deserve good government and good governance. We enjoy a form of government that is the envy of many people around the world, and our citizens deserve good, honest, and transparent government and our best efforts as public servants. Many of us are aware of problems we have faced and continue to face in some of our county offices and agencies. Inefficiencies, a lack of planning, misuse of taxpayer funds, personal hidden agendas, interagency bickering, frivolous lawsuits, lack of transparency, suppression of the voice of the public, and in some cases, fraud and theft have plagued us for the past few decades. I applaud the efforts of those elected officials and board and committee members here and throughout the county that have taken action over the years to bring order to chaos.
I gotta cut you off, Dennis. I
Okay.
apologize.
If elected, I'd like to continue it along with.
I just gotta cut you off. I know your 3 minutes.
Got it. Thanks. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. At this time, we're gonna have an opportunity for public comment in support of a candidate. That will be the purpose of the public comment. Each person will be limited to 60 seconds, and this is expected not to exceed 10 minutes. If for some reason we're past 10 minutes, the council as a whole could vote to continue with the public comments. You can stand in place back there just so we don't have to keep walking back and forth over these cords. So at this time, I will open the floor for comment.
Okay.
Okay. Hearing no, what?
Can someone just describe the job description?
Yeah, if you like.
So the Board of Health is the body that oversees they don't do the day-to-day at Geauga Public Health. That's what Mr. Lickey and Mr. Lark, Ron Graham, they're the day-to-day full-timers. The Board of Health meets monthly, sometimes more often, and they create the general policy decisions. They approve the budget, give final approval on hiring.
That's on my side.
Okay. So it's kind of the big picture stuff, as opposed to the day-to-day stuff. Does that answer your question?
And that's a paying position?
Many of them volunteer their time, but the state code allows up to $80 per meeting for 16 meetings is the most you get reimbursed.
Hearing no.
Well, hold on. I want to make sure, because do you want to allow, she asked if we can do comments or questions.
This is supposed to be a public comment in support of a particular candidate. Is that what you had, Mary?
No.
Are there, will there be opportunity for questions? Because
I did not have that on the agenda. I don't know that this is the forum for HDAC to be answering questions about Geauga Public Health.
I just met both candidates this evening. But when I was, so I just don't want the health board. I know that as a township trustee, as an active township trustee, I could not serve on the health board.
Okay,
Chris
so
Livers.
Are you supporting a candidate, Mary?
Well, if there's a conflict of interest, because one of them, with all due respect, is an elected official, then I am supporting the non-elected official candidate.
I guess.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Is there any further public comment? Hearing none.
To our knowledge, it's not a conflict, right?
To my knowledge, no, it's not.
Okay. I mean, to our knowledge, it's not a conflict. Just, it's not for, pro or against, but I mean, to our knowledge, it's not a conflict.
Yeah, the question was raised, Mary, in all fairness to you, the question was raised, ahead of time, yes. So with that, before we do, call the roll for the vote for the two candidates, the HDAC screening committee met last week. That was myself, Jason Sutter from Huntsburg, Joyce Peters from Parkman, Jonathan Tiber, who was unable to make it tonight. He's out of town for a family matter, and Mayor Coons from South Russell Village. And I would like to note that Mayor Coons sat there for the screening committee. He did not participate in the interviews of either candidate. He just observed, and he did not offer a vote during the deliberations. We did have a unanimous selection this year, which has not been the case in recent years. And I would just like to say that we had two fine candidates. We have a dedicated public servant, and we have somebody that's looking to serve their community and get involved. And quite frankly, we need more of that. And with that being said, the screening committee, the four members that voted unanimously decided that Melissa Bodrin would be our preferred candidate for the vacant Board of Health seat. And with that being said, I think we will go into calling the roll.
All right, ready? All right, Aquila Village,
Melissa Bodrin.
Auburn Township, Bainbridge Township, Burton Township, Burton Village,
Melissa Boldrin.
Chardon City,
Melissa Boldrin.
Chardon Township,
Melissa Bodrin.
Chester Township,
Melissa Boldrin.
Clarendon Township, Hamden Township,
Melissa Boldrin.
Huntsburg Township,
Melissa Boldrin.
Geauga County Commissioners aren't here, Middlefield Township,
Not here.
Middlefield Village,
Not here.
Montville Township,
Melissa Bodrin.
Munson Township,
Melissa.
Newberry Township,
Melissa Bodrin.
Parkman Township,
Melissa Boldrin.
Russell Township,
Melissa Bolden.
Russell Township,
That's me.
or sorry, South Russell Township, South Russell.
Not here.
Sorry. Thompson Township,
Melissa Boldrin.
and Troy Township.
Melissa.
That would be 14 votes for Melissa.
Is there any other business from any HDAC members?
We do plan to keep up the quarterly HDAC meetings. If everyone would like to attend, I know Mr. Olashek keeps sending those emails out. We do appreciate those who attend. I do buy pizza, so we love your input, love talking to you, so.
We've settled on a schedule of it's quarterly, so 3, 6, 9, 12. Yeah, so June, September, December, second Wednesday of the month in this room at 6:30.
Yes.
So I'll continue.
Quick question. So being a trustee, I get the email about the meetings. Is there a public notification so that residents can know, and if they want to come to the meeting?
Yes, I was sending out Shelley Lewis from the League of Women Voters. She's on my email list and does a really good job of getting the word out. And I've sent out sunshine notices to the Maple Leaf ahead of each meeting. But I'm certainly open to suggestions of more people to add to that. I don't know if that's
not HDAC.
Yeah, okay.
It's just for, he was saying it's just for HDAC members right now, is what he's saying.
Okay.
Sorry, behind, sorry.
Well, there's still public meetings.
There is public notice, yes.
I looked everywhere, I found out League of Women Voters, but it's only because someone
Maple Leaf too, I believe Chris
Yeah.
said. I paid for it, so I do believe it was in there.
Now get your money back.
No, yeah, I want some money back.
If you could tell me where it was in the paper, then I'll know where to look next time.
It's in the legal ads,
Legal notices.
in the back of the paper. So if there's no, oh, Mr. Mueller.
Yes, I would suggest that you also put an ad or a notice to the Sugar Valley Times, because in the southern, southwestern part of Geauga County, that's probably the most dominant paper in Bainbridge, Auburn, South Russell, or Russell.
Okay. Thank you.
To the municipality, what paper, your paper of choice?
Right, paper of record.
Your paper of record.
Yeah.
Paper of record is the Maple Leaf.
That's
And I
what
kinda understand where Jim's coming from, but still.
That was kind of my concern. I mean, it's a valid point. I figured the Maple Leaf goes to the entire county. I wasn't aware of, I know that Chagrin Valley, they've got multiple different issues that go to different places.
They would probably publish it at no cost. So they just copy it.
Okay.
Thank you.
Anything else? So at this time, we are going to entertain nominations for the president for the upcoming year. Would anybody like to make a nomination?
Don't all jump at once.
Keep it the same.
I'll nominate Chris Alshef.
How's that? Keep it the same.
Brown just made a nomination.
You don't want that.
Can we nominate people who are not in attendance? You see?
That should be allowed. We should change the bylaws to allow that, to make sure we've
People are gonna
got
show up real quick.
perfect
Right.
attendance.
Right, you don't have to worry about a quorum.
Yeah.
You did not, you don't want us to be doing that.
I will accept the nomination.
Looks like everyone's taking a step backwards.
He solemnly agrees. Except for those that couldn't hear him.
I heard. I read lips.
Well,
Yes.
I'll stay with you.
I would say that Dr. Rude would be the new chairman.
Well, this is for president of the Health District Advisory
Yeah.
Council, not for the Board of Health.
The board has to do their own.
Yeah.
Okay, gotcha.
Dr. Rude's sweating back there.
Even this fall.
Make the motion, come on, Mike.
I nominate Chris Alshef.
I'll
Is there a second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. It is an
That was-
honor.
That was heartfelt.
It is an honor and a pleasure. It really has been a privilege to serve with HDAC for the last several years and to be president for the last year. And I'm grateful, for those of you showing up, and I would encourage anybody that has the opportunity to try and make it to these quarterly meetings, because I've been able to stay up to date, and I think anybody that's come to them would agree that we're able to, sit down and kind of just have an update on what's going on in the moment, and it eliminates any, tensions building up throughout the year, and coming into a meeting like this, not being fully aware of things that are going on. So that's the one thing that I've gotten the most out of being involved with this is those quarterly meetings. And with that, do we have a nomination for secretary?
I didn't like it.
The trustee
All right.
from Newberry has nominated Mike Brown. I will second that. All in favor of Mike Brown? Any opposed?
It's a landslide.
Chris isn't showing up to the next meeting. Yeah, move forward.
With there being no further business, the next meeting, the quarterly meeting will be June 12th in this room at 6:30 PM. I'll send emails about that, and I will hear a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Mr. Mueller and Mrs. Spanos. All in favor?
Aye.
Adjourned at 7:10.
Please get some more food. I really don't have refrigerator space for all that at all, so please. That's true. I still don't have refrigerator space for it.